Okay, so introducing the HeartMath solution to enhance your resilience, to lower stress cortisone hormones, maintain emotional clarity in the midst of chaos, and enhancing your balanced sense of interoception. So let me define what interoception means. Interoception, a sense that helps you understand and feel what's going on inside your body physically, mentally, and emotionally. So having a sense, I think we all have a sensing of what's going on inside of ourselves, but to have a little more in depth in terms of by regularly practicing interoception aware activities, you can improve your ability to understand and manage your emotions to enhance your whole health. So having a sensing what's going on inside, but how do we actually handle that, manage that? And that's where HeartMath can assist with your conscious awareness of interoception with an appropriate balanced response. So we can become aware of what's happening inside of ourselves and then actually respond to that appropriately. So we're not getting so much wrapped up with feeling stressed, but we can actually respond to that and learn actually how to self-regulate those stress responses. So HeartMath is very helpful with that. The heart-brain relationship. The heart sends far more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. So this is a fundamental principle of HeartMath that was discovered by the folks who originated HeartMath, Dr. Children and his crew, way back in the early 90s, even before that. So they found scientifically that the heart has more of an influence on the brain than the brain sends to the heart. And if we can get our heart in you can say healthy rhythms, it will influence how our brain functions or the how our thoughts may be processed. So it looks like this. It was found scientifically, the term heart rate variability, which is the space of time between each heart contraction. And it should have a slight variability. See 859, 793, 726. So there should be a slight change in time between each heart contraction. If it was exactly the same, you'd be near death. But if there's a healthy variability, then it helps with feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy. And they call it coherence. So pattern out. This is how it's patterned out HRV rhythms. When we're in a state of frustration or anger or discouragement or depression, our heart rate rhythms can graph out to look like this. When we're in states of appreciation, thankfulness, kindness, compassion, our heart rate rhythms graph out to look like this. And when they look like this, you can say it gives a sense of being in the zone. There's a rhythm, there's a smoothness to our experience. And then we'll have a time for discussion. So if you have questions, note them and then we'll discuss them. So it looks like this too. Now, when our heart rhythms look like this, they're actually sending messages up into the areas of the brain stem and the medulla that relates to blood pressure, autonomic nervous system regulation. They'll have an influence on your amygdala, where your stored emotional patterns are. For example, if someone says something to you that triggers you, those triggers are actually stored in the part of the brain called the amygdala. You may be aware of that already. And then from there, then it begins that our thoughts spring to our conscious awareness from that process. But they go through this process first. And if our patterns are aberrant like that, we might be in a state of resilience when we're in these patterns. But when we're in these patterns, we're adapting, we're compensating. But if we can get our heart rhythms to be in this balanced flow, it's helping to send good sound messages up into the brain to help de-imprint those areas that have been stuck, you can say, with grooved patterns of habitual reactive patterns. So the whole idea is actually moving from a reactive state to more of a creative, enhanced, self-regulated state. So past, present, and future. You can say all of us have aberrant backgrounds that have passed through us. But if we can get present in the moment coherently, so we can receive, you can say those perfect coherent patterns that are animating all of nature, all of the universe, all the cosmos. They can be received in through our hearts so they can extend out through our system. Let me just change that picture. So they can receive, the same line can be received out through us. So instead of actually moving consistently, having repeating patterns in our future, we can change our future by getting coherent, getting those balanced heart rate rhythms in the present moment. So something extends out from us that's sound and steady, that's sane and real, that it's an experience, a greater experience, you can say, of well-being. And then knowing. So it's from a coherent heart, we can see, hear, feel, and know what to do. From a coherent heart. When our heart rate rhythms are in those zone patterns, we have a sense of knowing. And we have a sense that all is well. All is well in coherence. Again, coherence is when those patterns are balanced. Okay, so how do I become coherent? A big idea. Quick coherence technique basics. Heart focused breathing shifts your attention away from your mental chatter. So with HeartMath, it's found just by placing your feeling attention on your heart, your conscious feeling attention on your heart area, it helps to take the spin from your conscious thinking to accelerate that, so that you have a more of a sense of, okay, I feel stressed in the moment, but I'm gonna put my conscious feeling attention on my heart area, and that helps to deaccelerate that mental chatter. So maybe right now, if you're comfortable with this, you can put your hands on your heart, and you can sit, you can upright yourself. As a chiropractor, I recognize as we upright ourselves, it puts us more in a commanding position. And then even if you just consciously, you can close your eyes and just consciously be aware of your heart area. And that's where you want to go immediately when you start to feel stressed. Just consciously place your feeling attention on your heart area. And sometimes it's easier just to put your hand over your heart. And another little nuance with this, when you're reading something that means something to you, placing your hand in your heart or just considering the area of your heart can help let that be more appreciated in your heart, whatever you're reading or considering. And then second step to become coherent is consider what makes you smile. What do you love for sure? So for some of us who have pets, this is our cat, and we love our cat for sure. But think about what makes you smile. What makes you smile immediately without even actually thinking about it? And you may want to begin to write that down as an emotional, coherent inventory of writing down things that makes you smile, so you have that as a quick access when you may get stressed. So consider that for a second, for a moment. What makes you smile? Okay, so quick coherence, quick steps. Heart focus, breathe slow in and slower out. And when you breathe in that way, it activates your parasympathetic system, which is the part of your nervous system that helps to calm your system. So breathing in slow and slower out. And we're going to practice this, but just going to outline the steps. Activate a positive or renewing feeling. So experience what makes you smile. Heart focus, breathe the positive emotion. So activating. So again, just considering something that makes you smile immediately. And it's not really so much thinking about what makes you smile. It's like when you hit it, when you think of something that really makes you smile, you'll feel the feeling of that. And with HeartMath, it's not so much about thinking, it's more about experiencing, feeling the experience. Okay, let's practice. Okay, so let's upright ourselves. If you're comfortable with this, some people may not be, but if you are, you can put your hands on your heart. If you're not, you can just breathe with us. Upright yourself. You want to close your eyes. And let's just begin to breathe in slow, in through your heart. Imagine breathing in through your heart and breathing out through your heart. So imagine your nose being on your heart. And you're breathing in through your heart. And you're breathing out through your heart. Let's continue doing that. Breathing in and breathing out. And then what comes to your mind and heart, consider what makes you smile. And feel the feeling of that. And feel that feeling and breathe that feeling in through your heart and out through your heart. Breathing in through your heart. And breathing out through your heart. And be easy with yourself. Let things come to consciousness that make you smile. If they don't, just focus on breathing. In slow and out slower. Have a sense of appreciation for your life here and now. And as we come into coherence, individually and together, there's a greater experience of life, you can say, of the experience of life, the wonder of life, the beauty of life. And HeartMath is a door to allow for a greater experience of life, of well-being, of conscious saneness, of heartfelt joy, of deep appreciation for having life. As we feel the depth of emotion that way, we give thanks and breathe. We breathe that feeling in through our hearts. And we actually let it extend out through our hearts, out into the world. So an influence is made of saneness, of soundness, of joy. Let's hold this feeling. It's as we have been able to touch a deeper essence of ourselves and the experience of life. Let's appreciate this time and see what more we can discover and explore and establish inside of ourselves for a greater experience of well-being. As we let our hands open up and down and open our eyes, we'll come back to the screen. Okay. So let me continue a little more with you. So practice. A state of coherence takes practice to become an established trait. So it takes practice. And a couple of ways to practice. Is a good time to do what we just did as you're waking and as you're falling asleep. And then even other times during the day as it comes to mind. It can just take a moment. And seeing is believing. So there's actually sensors that you can connect to your iPhone. There's a battery-powered one. This is the one I use every morning for my practice. But there's a sensor that will tell you whether you're in that state of coherence by a sound and by a vision of color codes of green. See green here. And it will tell you whether you're in high coherence. And when you practice being in that state, it gives you that sense of well-being. But it does take some practice. And to actually see if you are in that state is very, very helpful. Okay. The essence of HeartMath. Any moment of hating, any moment of lying, any moment of resentment is a moment of dying. Any moment of loving, any moment of giving, any moment of thankfulness is a moment of living. All our moments add together like the digits in a sum, and the answer tells us plainly whether life or death shall come. So it's a poem by Martin Cecil, and to me it epitomizes what HeartMath is. As we constantly cultivate attitudes of loving, giving, thankfulness, it adds up. It adds up. to add to our heart math, our heart mathematics of establishing those patterns within ourselves, so that the patterns of things that might make us mad are let go of, or things that we may resent, that actually cause our bodies to decay faster. But to live a healthy, qualitative life, it takes cultivating these feelings, and heart math has a lot to do with that. And then if we look at it in terms of this way here, you can say all of us, you maybe can agree with this, all of us are an essence of light. And that essence needs to be received into our heart. It needs to be felt in our heart first before it becomes a conscious awareness. And how it's felt is through cultivating attitudes of thankfulness, appreciation, patience, which allows for our mind to be quietly directed, our quietly directed conscious mind. Our mind is in position then to act as a rudder for our heart to maintain these attitudes. So you can say our mind is a guardian angel of our heart to keep our hearts fixed in such a way. And when that happens, there's an enhanced conscious awareness of introception for self-regulation, where we recognize when we're going off in those aberrant patterns, but we catch ourselves and we get back into those patterns of coherence that gives us a sense of self-regulation, especially in times of stress and challenge. It also relates to finding your calm. It assists with having our heart and mind in alignment, so it invigorates our body, it vitalizes our body, and extends. And then ultimately, for all of us, it's all about extending an integrated life-giving influence. And as more of us are doing that individually, it will and has a transformative effect on the world. But it's a matter of finding our flow with it all. Let me show you this to help with that. Finding your flow, observing, calibrating, experiencing your conscious awareness. So interoception, recognizing the activities we have, balanced with rest, and finding a flow state presence where we're not overamping ourselves. And if we are, we self-regulate to come back to a flow state presence. You can say the flow state present relates to tuning a guitar string, or our nerves in that respect. We feel underamped. We might feel like we're not doing enough. We might feel bored. And we look to see how we can self-regulate to come back, to actually pick up what we need to pick up in our lives. But it all starts in our heart, and the compass of our heart relates to heart math, self-regulation, where we find a flow, you can say, with each other. The tones we sound with, we harmonize with each other. So life is the expression of tone. That's the essence of chiropractic, but you can say it's the essence of an experience of life, finding our tone, our tonal flow state, knowing our pace with grace, resourcing yourself, inviting coherence. When stress comes along, you can say our heart and our brain, our heart influences our brain more than our brain influences our heart, but then our brain has an influence on our intestine. So, folks, maybe yourself have maybe digestive concerns. If you can get your heart in coherence, it will influence your brain. And your brain, you've heard of brain-gut connections. Well, this is how it works. Heart comes first, though. The heart in place allows the brain to be in place, which allows for the influence on the intestine to be more of in a balanced way. So when stressed, anxious, mentally depleted, take deep, heart-focused breaths. Affirm what you love, the compass of your heart. Okay. According to your interests, if you want to learn more about stress mastering, I have a self-study course that I can take you through that if you're so interested. It's a 6-week HeartMath training with me, one-to-one there. You can also do something with the HeartMath Institute, but with my class, I integrate HeartMath along with nutrition and along with the fundamentals of actually letting you can say your innate essence begin to have a greater expression into the world. So it's a course in that respect. And then if you're interested, contact me at my MindSpring account or my phone number there. And I think I have a barcode there if you want to take a picture of that to make it a little bit easier.